I am back with another installment of the biggest world foreign coin bulk purchase I've ever made, where I bought all 21 of these 1 pound bags that this dealer had. He gave me a discount, and I purchased $125 for the whole thing. And this right here is bag number 14. So far, I've been fortunate to find a couple of silver coins. Silver was $64 an ounce on the day that I made this purchase, and that was worth $20 in those two coins right there. We're not going to talk about what silver is at today because it kept going up. Okay, just so you know, it's $79 right now, but the price of silver has been crazy. We're going to skip over things that we've seen in other videos. We're also going to skip over things that are pretty common. There is one coin from the last video I want to go back and revisit. It is from Vietnam. It's this 20 dong, and I'd mentioned that this is about the third time I've ever bought this coin. I paid $1.50 for this about a couple months ago. In that version, well, there are two different versions of this coin, and this is from South Vietnam. The other version of this coin is an FAO coin, and while I cannot read the Vietnamese that is written on here, there are different words that go around this coin. So I just wanted to mention that there are two different versions of this one coin. So far we found, I think it's going to be worth it for everything that we've purchased on here. There have been some oddly toned coins that are in here, so someone's been doing something with it. A lot of damaged coins, a lot of Mexican coins, and we see another coin from Vietnam right here that is the Tin Dong, and that's a kind of an example of a dirty coin, a little bit of corrosion on it, also from 1964. The silver coin that I found was the silver version of this one, where it said Diez Nuevo pesos on that one. And also like this 1 peso from the Philippines. This was used for a couple of years for a large style coin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and find the stuff that I want to talk about out of this one bag. All right, the first thing I want to focus on out of this batch is we're looking at the modern Israeli new shekel. This is the currency they've been using since 1985. These are very similar looking coins, but as you look at them, there is one tiny difference on this side, and that is the tiny little circle that appears right here is on this coin, but it's not on the coin on the left. The coin on the left is made out of copper nickel, and they did that for 8 or 9 years, starting in 1985. And then on the right, we have, I believe that's nickel-plated steel. And so there are a couple of different varieties of this coin. So the nickel-plated steel has been in use since, I guess that makes it about 1994. But there's also one other variety that I want to look at on this coin. So that's not the only difference between those coins. The coin on the right is the typical new shekel, and it has the letters new shekel written at the bottom. But as we look on this side, new shekel is underneath the 1, and at the bottom we have Hanukkah plus a menorah. So this is a circulating coin, but less common. So looking at the mintage figures, there's about 10 times more of these, where it just says new shekel at the bottom, than there are of the Hanukkah version of this coin. But there's not that much of a premium between the two. If you found this one in uncirculated condition, it would be worth about 50 cents. And this one in uncirculated condition is worth about 60 cents in U.S. money. In foreign exchange value, both of them are worth about 30 cents in United States money. So I wanted to point out those differences. The circle is true whether or not you have the Hanukkah coin. And so you have with and without a circle on both the Hanukkah and the non-Hanukkah versions of these coins. So really we're talking about 4 different coins. One thing I like about getting coins in bulk is when you find differences like that, you can kind of show them off in a video like this. So from Vietnam, we've looked at a couple of other denominations. This one is the 1 dong from 1960. I like this coin from Japan. This one is the 50 yen So it's another coin that is pretty close to being worth what that Israeli coin was worth in American foreign exchange value, about 30 cents. This one's going to be from about some point in the 1980s. From Brazil, a lot of coins during this era had their shield on the back of them. It's going to be a 10 centavos from 1956. From Iceland, here is a 10 kroner coin featuring 4 fish. I seem to think these are called gars, but I might be wrong about that. This is the older copper nickel version of the coin, but there is a newer stainless steel version of that coin. Here's another coin that is available in different metals. This one is from Cuba from 1943. It's the 5 centavos. This was made in a copper nickel version, aluminum version, and then we have the copper version. And I tend to think the copper version is the hardest to find, but usually I find all of them in rough shape most of the time. I think we saw this coin in the last video, but I think this one is nicer condition. No, I'm wrong. It was a France coin I'm thinking of. This is from Italy, and we feature a bee or some kind of wasp or something on this coin, pollinating a flower from 1922. It's the 10 centesimi coin. I usually find this coin in pretty rough shape, so this one's fairly decent. Features Vittorio Emanuele III. From Hungary, this is one of the 125-year-old coins that I find most common. From 1894, Magyar is what Hungary calls themselves. This is the 10 filler. And then the last coin out of today's first 1 pound lot is going to be from Turkey. This is the new currency, so it's 50 kurus from 2010. Ataturk on that side. And what I really like about this coin is not only is it bimetallic, but Turkey is the city that is in 2 continents, or the country in 2 continents, and their city is in 2 continents right here. We have the Bosporus Bridge, which connects the 2 continents. And as you look on the coin, the river that divides the 2 continents runs down the middle of the coin. So this is by no means a small bridge. This is a massive bridge project there in Turkey. I think there are some variations of this bridge that got too much metal inside the crescent moon up there, so that's a very common, so common of a mint mistake that I don't think it carries a premium. All right, let's move to bag number 15. Please be more silver. Let's go ahead and open up this one. First thing I like about this one is going to be from New Zealand. I like picking these up anytime I can get them cheap. It's the 50 cents coin featuring this giant sailboat. So it's a large coin, so we have some pretty good detail on it. Unfortunately, this one is fairly well worn, but a cool coin to find. All right, let me pause and dig around this one some. From Turkey, we have a 25 kurus from 1966. There are 3 different versions of this coin. 2 in 1966. There is a 5-gram version of this coin and a 4-gram version of this coin, both made in 1966. But another difference is in the 1959 version of the coin, if you look at the ground that is being stood on, this is called the rocky version because if you look at the ground is kind of rough, but in the 1959 version of this coin, the ground is smooth on the bottom. I'll show off this one for a moment. This one is not an actual coin. This is probably a Pacheco token, which is not really that interesting, but I wanted to show that off in case you've ever seen something like that and wondered what it was. I think it's a Japanese gaming token. I was surprised to find one of these earlier on, and now we've got a second one featuring the swallow-tailed kite the 1-year coin from Belize that was made by the Franklin Mint. This is not their normal circulating 1-cent coin. To find two of them, I think, is kind of a surprise out of a lot like this. From Singapore, the 1-cent coin from 1977 is actually not as common as a lot of the ones with the animals on it. This one features a government building with a fountain and clouds in the background. We saw the 50-cent coin from New Zealand, so here's the same coin from Australia, featuring the kangaroo. And the last time I had one of these, I called it an emu because that's what they're called in the United States. But a couple of my Australian friends said, no, this is pronounced emu. So I thought I would highlight that for those of you that pointed that out. But we really do call it emu in America, even though they are not native to our country. I figured that I should acknowledge that where they live, that's who gets to say how it's pronounced. We had a coin like this in a previous version of this series. This has an unusual look to it. It's a Canadian 5-cent coin, the beaver cent. I had the one with Queen Elizabeth on it that was made around 1954. It looks kind of strange. This is chromium-plated steel, and the chrome on here is a very thin layer that wears through really easily, and that's why it looks like there's dirty spots on here. This is not stainless steel, this is regular steel, and so after the top layer wears down, it gets to make it look stained or dirty. From, I believe this is El Salvador, we have a 1 sucre from 1986. That is the currency of Ecuador. Didn't mean to say El Salvador, that's Ecuador. We've seen a few of these from Iraq, the coins from about the 1980s, or in this case, 1970, featuring the 3 palm trees. But this one is a larger scalloped design for tin fils. Here is a circulating commemorative coin from Thailand. This one is a 5 baht before they reduced the size of the 5 baht. So we have a large Garuda on this side. Now for a coin that has a pretty decent foreign exchange value, we have this coin from Norway, featuring Harald V. This is a 10 kroner coin from 1996. Sadly, this coin is a little bit dirty, but we have the roof of a church featured on this coin, and this would have a foreign exchange value over €1. And then another coin I haven't seen very often, and it's a shame this one is so rough, but we have this coin from Sierra Leone, where a lot of their coins feature Sir Milton Margai, who I think was the first president. This one is the 20 cents from 1964. And I had forgotten until recently that the Leone in Sierra Leone means lion. So, of course, they're going to have a lion on some of their coins. So that one was a nice find. All right, time for bag number 16. And what is this one going to have in store? Well, the first thing that catches my attention is a clean coin that landed here in front. I've gotten a bunch of these cleaned 1 pennies from Australia lately. You can easily see the scratches on this one. But also being in fine condition, shouldn't have that much luster to it. Here's a token that I have not seen before. Fire Mountain Amusements. What kind of animal is that? Kind of a dragon, if it's Fire Mountain? Well, there we go. Alright, what's this tiny... Oh, that's just Netherlands. Let's go to this from Hong Kong. We've got this $2 coin. I've seen a few of these, and that's another one that's stained pretty bad. Alright, what's this one back here? I believe this is going to be from the Netherlands East Indies. From 1945, this one is a 1 cent coin. So there's multiple languages that have to be written on this one. So you have one language that goes around the outside. We've got a second language that goes right here. I believe one of them is Javanese. I forget the other one. This was minted at the United States Philadelphia Mint. So we have a mint mark of P right here. And then any coin made by the Netherlands intended to circulate in other countries will have a palm tree privy mark. All right, I'm going to pause and find the good stuff out of this bag. I was wondering if we would find another silver coin, and I came across this that was obviously in pretty rough, tarnished condition. It kind of has the look of a silver coin, but I went and checked. No, this is copper nickel, not silver. But there are a couple of different versions of this 5 kroner coin from Norway. This one was the first version that has the larger larger shield on this side. And then starting about a decade later, there is a thinner shield on the back. This is not a key date, but if you had found it in uncirculated mint state 60, would have a book value of $13, although Numista said it would have been worth $4. So we didn't get any silver, but we did get more clean coins. So we have this one from, well, this one might not be clean. This one's from Mozambique from 1974. Ah, yeah, this is the side that looked kind of something strange had been going on this side. I'm always surprised that these book for a couple of dollars, even though they're not really that rare. This next one's definitely been cleaned. We've got the early portrait of Queen Victoria on a British halfpenny, dated 1962. So that one's just weird. Here is a token that I find fairly often that's supposed to represent an ancient Israel coin. I find these fairly often. This is not a real coin. This is a very common replica. I find that fairly often. From Britain, this is a coin that is not silver, featuring George VI. 1947 was the first year that they stopped using silver, 50% silver, and started making all their coins out of copper nickel. So that means that you find the 1947 coins fairly often. Panamanian coins also are pegged to the United States coin, so they have the same shape, size, weight, and metal content as United States coin. This is a quarter of a Balboa, which would be the same size as the United States quarter of a dollar. It would have been made out of silver up as long as the United States quarters were made out of silver up through 1964. So it was copper nickel by 1983. And of course that one's also in rough shape. Here's a coin that kind of looks like it could have been silver, but it's not. Now, Philippines coins, when they were controlled by the United States, would put silver in their coins. To keep a similar look, the Philippine Central Bank during this time would add some zinc to their copper nickel to give it kind of a silver look, but it's not silver. But they had several designs featuring someone in front of a volcano with an anvil on here. This one shows a lady standing. There's another version, different denominations, where there is a man seated over there. This coin isn't particularly all that rare, but to find it in this good shape I thought was interesting. 1959 from Spain, Francisco Franco, on a 10 centimos. This coin was not used very long. We've seen several coins from Brunei. About the fourth one of these that we found. The second that has the one that appears right here. A couple that have not had that. The Dominican Republic has had a lot of subtle differences between their coins over the years. Here is the 1 centavo coin featuring Fray Bartolome de las Casas, the older coin. The next one, something has happened here. Someone's tried to clean it, it looks like. This one's dated 1954, and you can tell that it's a little bit larger than this next one. And if you go in your catalog, you'll find that they've made about 15 different versions of the 1 centavo over the decades. Different look to the portrait, same person, but this one is dated 1987, and again, it's got a really bad spot on that side. But one of the best coins out of this pound was this coin from Belize, Queen Elizabeth II. And so this one is the $1 coin from 2007, so this is a nice pickup. Belize is pegged to the United States dollar at 2 to 1, so this is worth 50 cents or half of a dollar in United States foreign exchange value. All right, so we've got bag number, what are we on here, 17 that we're going to look at now. Let's tear into this one and see what comes out of this one. First thing that catches my attention is this one right here from Iceland from 1940. I must say that there are way too many cleaned and corroded and dirty coins out of this lot. Still going to be able to use them, but that's kind of sad how that's happened. But that's a 10 Auror coin, and it's gross on this side too, so that's a shame. Like here's a very common coin, but here's 2 new pence that has been discolored in a weird way. And then this is a token. What do we have here? United States President McKinley. There are, of course, lots of U.S. presidential tokens that have been made, but I don't know that I necessarily recognize this one, Little Mac Cracker Jack. Okay, so this came in a box of Cracker Jacks, I guess. Boy, that peso is dirty, and then this 1 kopeck is from Russia is also dirty. All right, let's pause for a moment and see what we've got out of this final bag for today. Since we're just looking at Dominican cents, here's a third version. I think this one has a reduced size of head on this one, but aged, so dated 1980. So definitely a different version of the portrait. Here's another coin from Philippines that looks like it could be silver, featuring the same lady in front of the volcano from 1963. Again, it's not silver, it's just copper nickel with a little bit of zinc added in. And then we're back to Brunei. So we have another of these. This is the version of the coin without the number 1 that appears here at the bottom where that dot is. So here is a coin from Fiji from 1985 with a ceremonial shaker on it, on that 10 cents coin. From Italy, I like this 50 centesimi coin featuring the eagle standing on a hatchet. So it's a Vittorio Emanuele III. And so one thing to note on here is we have a date of 1942, and it's also in Roman numerals. We have the number 20 on here, so that's the 20th year of Emmanuel III's reign. And we have an R mint mark in the corner. I like these coins from Germany. It's a 50 Pfennig from 1922 with a slogan on here, kind of a motivational to go out and work message on here. But I like how the light's hitting the grain on here as I twist it. From the Netherlands Antilles, we have this 2.5 cent coin from 1973. This one features a privy mark of a rooster And the caduceus here, the symbol of the two snakes around a staff, appear on a lot of the Netherlands coins. We've had a couple of coins from Jordan in this video. This one features a different monarch on that side, and it is a 10 piastres from 1997 on our calendar, or 1417 on the Arabic calendar. From Israel, we have this coin which is supposed to look like a new Agora aluminum coin. Very similar coin, that it was round, that had the kind of the curved square in the middle with a large number 1 on it. This is not a coin, this is a token. This is about the second or third time I found one of these. That is essentially meant to be a good luck token, not an actual coin made by the government. This coin, the first time I found one of these, I thought it was really difficult to figure out where it was from. We have a couple of hands, and one of them's holding, looks like maybe 3 oranges or something like that. At the bottom, we have a 1/2, so this is a half of a dinar. It's going to be from Tunisia. And it's amazing how a coin can be this rough, even though it was made in 2007. Or on the Arabic calendar, 1428. But we have a shield on here. We've got a crescent moon and star on the top. Looks like they have a boat at the top of the shield, have the scales of justice, and a lion on the bottom half. And then our last coin, this one might be my favorite from the video. This is a country that was controlled by Portugal. This one does have a stain on it, but it's small enough that I'll allow it on here. This coin is going to be from Macau, so this one is the Portuguese-controlled city of near China, now part of China. So their currency was the pataka, and so 100 avos makes a pataka, so this one is a half of a pataka. And so on the shield in the middle, we've got the Portuguese symbolism of the plus or cross on the left. But for Macau, we have, looks like a dragon holding one of the shields that's to its right. And then we've also got a couple of Chinese characters on either side of the circle in the middle. All right, some pretty good coins, although at this point maybe half of these coins are better than the others. But here's a kind of a look at some of the stuff we didn't take a look at. I mean, this is a pretty good coin here, this 100 pesetas. So there's some things that I didn't show you that are fairly decent. Like, we don't see the aluminum 1 peseta all that often. That one is dated 1987. So there still are some good things in here that we didn't get to. But I think it's going to take us one more video to get through all these lots, and we'll start with bag number 18 in the next video. Until then, bye.